The windshield wipers slapped back and forth like they were arguing with the rain. Inside the tiny auto shop on the edge of town, the neon open sign flickered, half dead, just like the 2009 Honda Civic coughing its last breath in Bay 3. Mia Harper stood under the fluorescent lights in a soaked trench coat, diamonds hidden under the collar, watching the only mechanic still on duty wipe grease from his hands with a red rag that had seen better decades. He looked up. Brown eyes, tired but kind. A streak of oil across his cheek like war paint. "You the owner of the corpse?" he asked, nodding at the Civic. "Guilty," she said, voice softer than the storm outside. He extended the rag hand anyway. "Jake Riley. I can keep her alive till Monday, but the weekend? She's asking for a miracle." Mia smiled for the first time all day. "Funny. I was about to ask you the same thing." She didn't know why she said it. Maybe because the boardroom had chewed her up and spat her out that morning. Maybe because her fiancé, ex-fiancé, had chosen the Hamptons with his secretary over their anniversary. Maybe because for once in 10 years she wanted to be someone who needed rescuing instead of the one writing the checks. Jake tilted his head. "Ask me what? Will you be my date for the weekend?" He laughed, a short, honest bark that turned into a cough when he realized she wasn't joking. "Lady, I smell like transmission fluid and broken dreams. You sure you dialed the right number?" "I'm sure," she said. "I'll pay whatever you want for the car, but I need a +1 who doesn't know who I am. 2 days. Food, lodging, 0 questions about stock prices. Deal?" Jake looked at the Civic, then at the clock, 11:47 p.m., then at the woman whose eyes were older than her face. He stuck out his hand again, clean this time. "Deal. But I'm driving. If this hook grabbed you, smash that like button right now so YouTube knows to show this story to every hopeless romantic still scrolling at 2 a.m. And hit subscribe, bell on, because the twist at the end will make you cry into your coffee. Trust me." Friday, 6:03 a.m. Jake pulled up to the address she texted him in his freshly washed 1993 Ford pickup, the one with the dented fender and the pine tree air freshener that gave up years ago. Mia waited on the curb in jeans, scuffed Converse, and a baseball cap pulled low. No driver, no security, no Birkin. Just a girl with a duffel bag and a grin that said trouble. "You lied," he said, leaning across to open the passenger door. "You said food and lodging. This looks like a road trip." "Technically, a ferry trip," she corrected, tossing her bag in the back. "Ever been to Harbor Island?" "Only in my dreams, right after I win the lottery and right before I wake up." She buckled in. "Then buckle up, Buttercup. Today's your lucky day." The ferry horn blasted like a starting gun. As the ramp lifted, Mia felt the first real breath she'd taken in months. No emails. No calls. Just salt air and a mechanic who kept stealing glances like she was a puzzle he hadn't agreed to solve. They talked about everything except the truth. He told her about growing up in foster homes, about fixing his first carburetor at 12 with YouTube and prayer. She told him about working in an office and hating her boss, which wasn't entirely a lie. By the time the island appeared, green hills stitched with vineyards and lighthouses, they were laughing so hard the ferry workers thought they were drunk. The cottage she'd rented was small, shingled, perfect. White curtains dancing in the breeze. Jake carried the bags inside and stopped dead in the doorway. "Mia. This place costs more per night than I make in a month. Consider it hazard pay," she teased. "You're babysitting a high-maintenance Honda owner." He shook his head, but his eyes softened. "You're not what I expected." Ditto, grease monkey. That night they cooked pasta on a stove older than both of them. He burned the garlic. She opened a $400 bottle of wine like it was $2 chuck. They ate on the porch while the sun bled into the ocean, and for the first time in forever, Mia forgot she was Amelia Harper, CEO of Harper Tech, Forbes 30 Under 30, the woman who could buy this island with a phone call. Jake raised his plastic cup. To broken cars and stranger danger. She clinked hers against it. To weekends that feel like lifetimes. Saturday, 9:22 a.m. They rented bikes, the kind with baskets and bells that screamed tourist. Jake's chain kept slipping. Mia's laugh kept ringing. At the farmer's market, she bought strawberries so sweet he groaned out loud. An old woman selling honey leaned over her table. "You two newlyweds?" Jake choked on a berry. Mia just smiled. "Something like that." Afternoon found them on the hidden beach only locals know. Jake skipped stones like he was born to it, 7 skips, 8, 9. Mia tried and managed 2 before the rock plopped like a corpse. He waded in after it, jeans rolled to his knees, and came back with a piece of sea glass the color of his eyes. "For the girl who has everything," he said, pressing it into her palm. She closed her fist around it so hard it should have cut. It didn't. That night there was a bonfire. Some guy with a guitar sang Jason Isbell too loud and too well. Jake pulled her up to dance when no one else would. Bare feet in the sand. His hand on the small of her back. Her cheek against his shoulder that smelled like salt and cedar. She felt the exact moment his heartbeat sped up to match hers. 11:57 p.m. They walked the shoreline alone. Moonlight carved silver paths on the water. "Mia," he said quietly, "this has been the best weekend of my life." She stopped walking. The lie sat heavy on her tongue. "Jake, there's something." He turned, cupped her face. "Don't. Whatever it is, it can wait till Monday. Let me have this. Let me have you, just like this, for one more night." She kissed him instead of telling the truth. It tasted like strawberries and secrets. Sunday, dawn. She woke before him, slipped out to the porch with coffee and dread. Her phone, finally turned on, exploded with notifications. Board meeting emergency. Stock dip. Paparazzi somehow got wind she was missing. She stared at the screen until it blurred. Jake found her there, hair wild, eyes red. "Hey," he whispered, wrapping a blanket around her shoulders. "You okay?" She laughed, a broken sound. "Define okay." He sat beside her, patient as sunrise. "I lied to you," she said. "About everything." Then she told him. All of it. Harper Tech. The X. The private jet parked 2 islands over. The fact that the cottage wasn't rented, it was hers. Every word carved a new wound. When she finished, silence stretched so thin it could have snapped. Jake stood up slowly. So this was, what? Slumming it? Rich girl fantasy? No, she choked. It was the first time I've been real in 10 years. He looked at her like she was a stranger wearing Mia's face. "I fix things for a living," he said. "But I don't think I can fix this." He walked back inside. Door closed. Soft. Final. She cried so hard the ocean sounded jealous. 2 hours later, the ferry horn blasted again. Jake stood at the ramp with his duffel, same red rag sticking out of his back pocket. Mia ran the length of the dock, barefoot, tears flying. "Jake, wait." He didn't turn. "Please," she begged. "I'll sell the company. I'll move here. I'll learn to skip stones. Just, don't leave like this." The ramp started rising. He finally looked back. Eyes wet, jaw clenched. "You can't buy a second chance, Mia. You have to earn it." Then he was gone. Monday, 8:03 a.m. Harper Tech headquarters. Glass walls, marble floors, fear in every handshake. Mia walked into the boardroom in the same jeans and Converse. "I'm stepping down as CEO," she announced. Dead silence. "Effective immediately. I'll retain shares but day-to-day is done. Find someone who actually loves this job." She left before they could argue. Tuesday, 11:11 a.m. She showed up at Riley's auto with a cardboard box and a heart that felt like gravel. Jake was under a minivan, grease up to his elbows. He slid out, saw her, froze. "I quit," she said. "Sold the penthouse. Bought the empty storefront next door. Turning it into a community garage, free repairs for single moms, foster kids, anyone who can't afford it." He stared. "I'm not asking you to forgive me," she continued. "I'm asking for a job. Entry level. I'll mop floors. I'll answer phones. I'll burn garlic every damn night if you let me." Jake wiped his hands on the red rag. Slowly. "You know the pay's shit," he said. "I'm aware. Ours are worse. I brought knee pads." He looked at her for a long, long time. Then he reached under the counter and pulled out the sea glass he'd given her. Somehow she dropped it on the ferry. It was drilled now, strung on fishing line. A necklace. "Turn around," he said, voice rough. She did, trembling. He fastened it at the nape of her neck. "First rule," he murmured against her ear. "No more lies." "Second rule," she whispered. He kissed the spot just below the clasp. "We take the ferry every anniversary. And you let me pay." She turned in his arms. "Deal." 6 months later. The new sign went up, Riley and Harper Community Garage. Underneath, in smaller letters, "Love tunes better than any engine." They still burn the garlic. They still dance barefoot. And every Friday night, Jake asks the same question he asked that rainy night in Bay 3. "Will you be my date for the weekend?" Mia always answers the same. "Only if you let me drive." If this story made you believe in second chances, drop a like that could power a small city. Comment SEA Glass if you cried, and subscribe because next week we're telling the story of the billionaire who fell for the barista. Spoiler, the barista was the one with the private island. Turn on the bell. You don't want to miss it. Love you guys. See you in the next one.